In the long history of getting stronger, some people are more than just coaches or athletes. They become thinkers and writers for the sport. Dr. Ken Leistner was one of those people. He coached many athletes to become stronger, but his longest-lasting impact came from his writing. His writing was more than just workout plans and diet tips. It was a complete way of training. He always spoke the truth, straight and without sugarcoating it, just like the way he trained in the gym. Out of all his writings, one article is very special, and that's the article we'll read today. In this article, he talks about the deadlift, overtraining, and how most lifters hurt their own progress by doing too much. This isn't just advice, it's wisdom from someone who spent his whole life around iron. So let's begin. The real cause of overtraining isn't just physical, it's psychological. Most lifters feel good and satisfied just by spending more time in the gym and doing tons of exercises. But for a true lifter, the real satisfaction should come from one thing: improving your total and getting stronger on every lift. The truth is, most lifters actually hold back their own progress by doing way too much unnecessary work. Take the bench press, for example. It's one of the most overtrained lifts because it builds those showy upper body muscles that look impressive in the mirror. Sure, a bigger chest and arms might boost your ego, but that doesn't always mean your total numbers are going up. Many lifters don't even notice their lack of progress on the bench. They excuse their lack of bench press progress by telling themselves it's fine, as long as they're seeing bigger chest and arms muscles in the mirror. That feeling of size and muscularity gives them self-satisfaction, even if their actual strength isn't improving. Hardly any lifter actually looks forward to training the deadlift or its assistance work. It's brutally demanding. Yet many still overdo it, running too many sets or pulling too often. The same urge that makes them overload on bench press and arm work also drives them to push the deadlift beyond what their body can recover from. The deadlift, when done correctly and with the right intensity, is absolutely brutal. There's no softer way to put it. Wilbur Streeter, a top masters lifter and coach, once said that most men and women never push this lift hard and heavy enough to truly reach their limits. Instead of pushing the deadlift hard enough and accepting the discomfort that comes with real progress, many lifters avoid the pain by piling on too many so-called top sets. These extra sets do almost nothing for real strength. Instead, they just wear down the body and take a heavy toll on recovery. When told, it would be best to deadlift once every 10 days, 2 weeks, or even once in every 3 weeks. Most lifters ignore the advice and continue to train the lift once or twice per week. Most lifters are simply afraid to skip deadlift training. They fall into the illusion that more work equals more progress. In reality, all they're doing is ignoring the warning signs: tightness in the lower back, fatigue in the thighs and hips, stiff necks, and trap spasms. These aren't gains. They're classic signs of overtraining and lack of rest. Many lifters feel they have to be in the gym constantly, deadlifting as if missing a session will put them behind the competition. But this doesn't make sense, because fewer, more productive sessions would actually serve them better. To make matters worse, they assume they need an assistance exercise for every phase of the lift, piling on even more unnecessary work. I always enjoyed power rack work. Bill March was an early lifting influence on me and was one of the first advocates of power rack training. We had great sessions at the York Gym, and I found that I was able to lift extremely heavy weight in a number of partial range movements. One of my favorite rack lifts was pulling the bar from just above the knees. At a body weight of only 160 pounds, I could crank out 5 or 6 reps with 730 pounds. In the gym, it always got big reactions. Lifters twice my size would shake their heads, impressed by how easily I could lock out such massive weights. Of course, on meet day, my competitors weren't nearly as impressed since that strength didn't always carry over to the platform. But here's the problem. This short-range strength never really carried over to my competitive deadlift. I tried changing my stance and technique, but it didn't help. No matter how strong I got in the rack, I couldn't make it count on the platform. Interestingly though, lifters like Jay Rosiglione, one of the best in the US for years, found great success using partial deadlifts from knee height. What didn't work for me worked perfectly for him. Power rack training is brutally demanding, often more than it looks. That's why if you decide to add partial deadlifts to your program, there are 2 important precautions you need to follow. First rule, don't overuse the rack. Hitting it once every 2 to 4 weeks is plenty for most lifters. Go beyond that, and the toll it takes on your recovery can be huge. Second, use moderately high reps. In partial deadlifts, it's tempting to load up massive weights, but that puts tremendous stress on the lower back and connective tissues, raising the risk of injury. The smarter way is to use perfect form. Take a second or two to set up before each rep and stick to just 1 or 2 top sets in the 10-15 rep range. This builds real strength while also toughening your mindset to handle heavy pulling. When doing stiff-legged deadlifts, we always stood on a small elevated block. This increased the range of motion through the lower back and made sure the hamstrings and hips were getting their full share of the work. Standing on a small block while doing regular deadlifts increases the bar's range of motion, which can be a great training tool, but don't elevate too much. If the block is too high, the movement changes completely, raising the risk of injury and breaking down your form when you return to the competition platform. Lifters with a history of lower back problems often re-injure themselves by reaching too low during deep start deadlifts. A slight elevation, just an inch or two, can help improve the initial pull from the floor in competition. But going up on a 4 or 6 inch block offers little benefit. In fact, it puts the back in danger and usually leads to form breakdown. One of the biggest problems lifters face is knowing what to choose at the right time. I've seen programs that pile it all together: regular deadlifts, rack pulls for short-range strength, and deep starts to work the break off the floor. But here's the issue. Each of these movements is already brutally demanding. When lifters feel compelled to attack every phase of the deadlift at once, they don't end up stronger. They end up injured, overtrained, and stalled. The deadlift by itself demands an enormous amount of effort. Adding another heavy assistance movement on top of it is not smart. It's foolish and counterproductive. And if a lifter insists on throwing in 2 or 3 extra exercises just to hit the traps or upper back, overtraining isn't a possibility. It's almost a guarantee. The first priority is simple: learn how to deadlift properly with heavy weights. Once you've mastered that, there's very little need for extra assistance work, as long as you're making steady and consistent progress on the main lift itself. If progress stalls, or if burnout sets in, the solution isn't to do more of the same. Switching to stiff-legged deadlifts or another variation can reignite progress. In fact, alternating stiff-legged pulls 1 week with regular or deficit deadlifts, the next over a period of 2 months, has proven to be a highly effective way to get back on track. Most well-balanced programs already include some form of training for the upper back, and when paired with the deadlift, that's usually more than enough. Personally, I've found my upper back and lats far more sore, not from direct back work, but from stiff-legged deadlifts with heavy weight and high reps. The challenge of controlling the bar and holding perfect position leaves those muscles aching beyond description. Squatting or other thigh exercises will bring strength stimulation to this area, which of course translates to a better deadlift. Many lifters look at the leg press as an assistance exercise for the deadlift rather than the squat. And that's perfectly fine. If you feel it benefits your pull, then include it. Just make sure it supports your training and doesn't tip you over the edge into overtraining. Judicious choices and common sense are the keys to successful deadlifting. If you need 2 weeks between sessions, take it and ignore the compulsive calling to deadlift more often. Often, 1 or 2 top sets are all most men or women need if those sets are truly taxing. Don't waste time listening to those who tell you to do more, especially if more only leaves you drained or injured.